Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble from Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
How you doing, Chris?
Pretty good, Dave. How's it going over there in the morning in Sydney?
Not too bad at all. I've got myself a new pop filter because you know how we talked about that before, how the breath on the microphone and all that sort of stuff. So I'll have to put up a photo of it. I've got the wife's stocking here. I stole one of her stockings and I've got it stretched over a coat hanger and it's jury-rigged hanging over my microphone. So we'll see how it goes. But it looks like it attenuates the breath by at least 6 dB, maybe
That's
10 dB or even 12. So, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. That's just in my limited little, trial there. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, and I've got my pillows again here surrounding so we get nice quality audio. And we're going to try a new
studio right there.
Yeah, and we're going to try a new audio filter auto leveling program as well. So hopefully this audio should be really schmick. Apart from our horrible voices, our non-radio voices. But technically it should be quite good.
Eventually, maybe.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
So what's happening?
Oh, not too much here. We got a couple events coming up. Got a couple shout-outs to go through. Some projects, some ranting, I'm sure, is on the list.
Yes, absolutely. Always a rant. I've got a couple of rants.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard you saying
you're going to ESC Boston.
That's right.
You lucky bastard. Yes.
I will be at ESC Boston. I'll be poking around there, and if you happen to be going, give me a shout, and maybe we can meet up. I'm going to be probably going to one of the Tweet Up events. I'm sorry about that. I don't have any stockings in front of my filter or in front of my thing yet. So
not as high tech as my setup.
That's right. Yeah. So I'll
clearly not.
I'll have to steal the girlfriend's pantyhose at some point here. But anyways, I will be at ESC Boston and poking around there. And have you ever been to Boston before?
No, I haven't been to Boston. I would love to go. I was trying to set up going to ESC Boston, but that didn't come through. So unfortunately, no, I won't be there. My trip to the US doesn't time up with that. So when is the Boston thing again? It's end of September, isn't it?
Yeah, like the 20th or so. And
yeah.
Boston's I got to go for my relatives used to live out there, and so I was there when I was a lot younger. But now I went back just recently, actually, for the Independence Day, and I drove out there. I don't want to drive again, but Ohio to Massachusetts isn't a fun drive,
right?
But man, it's a great city. It's like if you don't mind paying a lot of money to stay there and stuff, it's a fun place, and good seafood and fun times out there. So looking forward to it. Hopefully, if anyone's listening and has happened to be there, maybe we can grab a beer. So
fantastic. And you're going to the Open Source Hardware Summit too again, you lucky bastard.
I know.
God, you're getting to go to everything, and I'm stuck here in Sydney, Australia. And
you get the nice nature and the funny accents.
And Although there's some bad things about living in Australia, which we'll get onto later. You've got to remind me about that. I'll rant about, various things. So
but if you haven't seen the Open Source Hardware Summit.org, I think it is. It's openhardware.org. Thank you.
That's it.
It's actually a great speakers list. I think we talked about it last time. A lot of the hobbyist type people are going to be out there, but even like Chris Anderson from Do It Yourself Drones, and he writes for Wired, so a lot of different a lot of magazine people there. So I'm really looking forward. I don't know if I'm actually going to get to meet anyone, but hopefully I'll get to maybe grab some sound clips. I'm going to bring a recorder with me and hopefully grab some sound clips and get to chat with some people in between sessions. So.
Fantastic, and we can upload those to the Amp Hour.
That's right, yeah.
Not really as part of this show, because we're not that advanced. We haven't figured I don't think we've figured out how to sync in audio in real time here while we're doing it. So
that'll probably be 2 or 3 episodes away. I'll be able to talk about that stuff. And
excellent.
I'm looking forward to it, yeah. What about you? I see you're going to some kind of YouTube thing? What's that?
I'm going to the YouTube, apparently Australia's biggest YouTube get-together, which is called BrizTube 2010. It's up in the north of Australia. It's up in, it's about 12 hours away by car.
Good Lord.
So it's,
Are you going to drive?
I don't know. Well, we probably don't have time, so we'll probably try and get some cheap tickets or something like that and fly. But it's halfway north up Australia, and I'll be going because I figure I'm pretty big on YouTube. Well, actually, I'm not, but I'm certainly climbing my way up the Australian YouTube. Yes, I'm like number 30 with a bullet. Or something like that on the Guru channel. Although I think I've mentioned this before, I'm like number 2 or something, if 2 or 3, if you look at the Guru Science and Technology channel in Australia. So, I don't have a huge number of subscribers. I've only got 2,800 or so, which compared to some of the others have got 600,000 or 100,000 or 20,000. Yeah. Everyone seems to have like 20,000, but they've been around a long time. So,
well, I'm also a little more encouraged that there's 20. I'd rather have 2,800 people that like electronics than 100,000 people that are looking at cats playing pianos. So,
well, that's
everyone
the thing.
out there that is a subscriber.
They have all these subscribers, but I seem to get a similar number or more hits than them every week. So their subscribers, they've all signed up, but they don't listen or they don't watch.
Right.
They don't watch.
I'd say that's better anytime.
Exactly. So it's not the number of subscribers. It's really, so I'm looking like the number of, the number of hits per week or, per day or per month. And I'm doing pretty good. In fact, some days I'm number 1.
All right.
Number 1 in Australia for number of views.
That's right.
So,
taking the continent by storm.
Awesome. So, I figure I'd just meet up with some fellow YouTubers up there. Even though I'm more of a video blogger, I have a blog separately. I still like to think I have I'm mostly YouTube based because that's where all my videos are hosted. So, anyway, I'm going to that. So, we'll turn that into a mini holiday. And, obviously I have to pay to go to that. It costs money to fly up there and stay and everything. But, it's a holiday. So,
and it's good too. I mean, for engineers out there or even hobbyists out there, you don't really realize it until you kind of get out. Like, at least when I was in school, I never thought about it. But, like, you always kind of hear, like, the engineer archetype of, like, oh, they're kind of to themselves or whatever. But, man, like,
and it's pretty true, though.
It is. But, getting to know people is not, I mean, if you can get into it, you get people that like the same things as you, then, like, if you get to know them, that can really help you out later on. I mean, like finding jobs, even just keeping in touch, bouncing circuit ideas off of them, all that kind of stuff is, it sounds, like people always say network, blah, blah, blah. But like, if you're just talking to some friends online, that's a much better thing and probably more useful because networking always has a stigma of like, oh, well, I have to go glad hand all these people and whatever. But it's like,
exactly,
if you just know people, like, hopefully if I ever needed a job out in Australia, Dave would be able to help me out. I don't know if you'd want me out there, and I don't know if I'd survive.
No, well, exactly. Someone out here, so I'm sure I could, make some calls and set
and it's
something up. So, yep.
Yeah, it's not like a definite thing, but just getting to know people is a good thing and keeping in touch with them. So that's my little
absolutely
human side. That's the human side of Chris talking there.
Well, that's the difference that the communication revolution has made these days. Because when I was a boy, every amp hour must have a "when I was a boy" story. The only way you could know people was by mail. As in physical letters and things like that, or you get something published in the magazine, and
right.
That's how I got known back in the old days because I'd publish something in the magazine, and then email came along, and it was a little bit easier, but there was
message boards and everything.
There were forums and stuff like that, but that was about the limit of it. There's no Twitter and social networking and Facebook and LinkedIn and all the other social networking stuff these days, which is
but even
really
with all
easy
those things, with all those things, you still have to actually try and talk to people and get to know them a little bit, and because you can connect with 1,000 people on LinkedIn, not know a single one of them, and it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So. I think also I wanted to add, if we do have a "When I Was a Boy" section on the Amp Hour, I think it should be sponsored by Geritol or a retirement center. Just throwing it out there.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. I want to give a shout out real quick.
We will.
Yeah, Jason over at nt7s.com. That's a ham radio site. So we talked about ham last time and how those guys are analog rock stars. And so he actually is one of the first people I know of that actually used our logo. and it's on his site now.
Excellent.
So we'll link that in there. Thanks, Jason, for linking to us.
Absolutely. Thanks,
we always
Jason.
like that. And, hopefully a lot of hams are getting into this and listening to us,
Hope so. And hopefully we have some decent content for everyone to listen to.
Yeah. We'll find out.
But I guess the whole idea is that, we just want to put together a show that not necessarily has a massive amount of technical content. It's just, two electronics guys just talking about the electronics industry in general and stuff like that. So it's something you can put on if you're in the car on the way to work, or something like that, or you're sitting at work, you whack your headphones on and you want to take your mind off Dilbert Land, you can put on the amp hour and listen to Dave and Chris Land.
Yes, we have a land now. It is in the ether. It is in the ether.
In the ether, yes, I love the ether. The
Back when you were a boy. Yes.
The ether exists, yes. When I was a boy, everyone believed in the ether. I still believe in the ether. I think there's an ether there. Absolutely.
I saw a theory. They were talking about bringing that model back.
They've talked about that quite a few times, and quite a few major physicists have brought back the ether as a, or in some incarnation of it to explain various things. So there you go. Yeah,
it's a little outside of my circle of competence, but still, it's fun to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I had another shout out too. John over at Freetronics, he was really nice. He sent me over couple boards, and it was for my birthday actually. And so I have a brand new Arduino board from Freetronics.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's really sweet, and I'd never had one before, so now I have one. I saw you had talked about how you still have yet to play with one, right?
Oh, I've played with it a bit as part of my. I did a blog on it about, how long ago was that now? About 6 months probably.
Yeah.
But I haven't really used it since then. I haven't really had a need to lash up something fast just to control something. But if I did, I'd certainly consider using the Arduino because it is really quick and easy.
Yeah, it really is. And I was playing with it, and I had this. I've used like IDEs before and stuff like that, and I really like how it's like standalone application, and then it just kind of downloads. It seems like really all of it seems really intuitive, and it just I started imagining these college class. Like I think about like programming classes in high schools and colleges and stuff like that. They start you out with like, now we're going to talk about structures and classes and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
and you're
I know.
Like, your eyelids just start drooping immediately. And why not instead give them a board, say, hey, you're going to try and flip this little light at first. And we did that. But even just that, you think about it, someone who's learning Java for the first time and then saying, okay, you're going to get down through all the crap on your computer and then eventually you're going to flip a little bit. And it's like, well, most people that start out learning these high-level languages, it takes them years to get down to that level. Why not start down there and then build up from a good foundation? So they actually learn like memory spaces and all that other stuff that you need to know.
Yep.
So if you're putting together
just a different way of there's nothing wrong with starting at the high level and working backwards. There's just nothing wrong with that at all. And it keeps the fun up because if you start out. Well, it depends how you like to learn and things like that, but I think it's better to start out with the high-level stuff because then you get excited and, look, the LED's flashing and, something
I'm
like
saying
that.
That's low level. I'm saying that's low level. I'm saying like high level would be like, just running like a Hello World program in Java or C++, and then you start doing all these like classes and functions and all this other stuff that you don't really get. Whereas if you're just having an Arduino where there's, an initialization loop, there's initialization, a beginning loop, and then a main loop, and that's all you have, that's going to limit you eventually, and then you'll have to build up to, throwing functions and throwing all these other things. So I think that they should start on the... I would say that low level is Arduino, and high level would be programming Java or Python or Perl, or anything like that. No, maybe not Perl.
That depends on your definition. See, I consider Arduino very high level.
Really?
I don't
Okay.
consider, because compared to a pick, because, you have to compare it apples to apples. So compared to a pick or an Atmel, like how much work goes into just setting up and getting a program running on a pick or an AVR, it's quite a lot of work. And you've got to if you want to flip an individual bit on an ADR, it's a pain in the ass, And whereas, you can do that easy, or you want to send a command out a serial port or something, you've got to set up the registers and you've got to do all that sort of stuff,
right? And
with
you
the pick. So in that respect, that's what I was talking about. That's why I consider Arduino, as far as microcontrollers are concerned, it's about as high level as you can get. Really, I think, unless you want to go to even higher level again, where you've got these real high end micro kits, and they have GUIs and they have all that sort of but then they're not microcontrollers; they're full-on microprocessor development systems and stuff.
Yeah, I guess I was talking more about the languages stuff. I guess I was thinking about it from a language perspective. Of the first time I started looking at programming stuff, it was a language. And why not just throw that stuff out the door? Get what you call a high level, and actually, I agree with you. It is really a high level, except immediately associate it with hardware because. Web stuff's the future, but if you have a EE program, you can separate that from a CS program because your CS programmers are going to be the web guys anyways.
Exactly. They're going to be all web-based these days, which, I know absolutely nothing about.
Yeah. So, it was fun. It was fun trying it out, and, I enjoyed it, and I'm going to keep trying some new projects, and I'll update them when I get to them. I mean, we talked about it, and you said, just do it, so... That's what I'm doing.
Absolutely. Oh, awesome. So there you go, the Arduino. If Chris, the analog guy, thinks the Arduino is the duck's guts, then there you go. Get into it, guys.
Yeah. So we had some other stuff about tech news and discussion points. And oh, my God, there's so much stuff here.
Yeah, we've got the Memristor from HP. HP are trying to commercialize the famous Memristor, which they developed some time ago now. And, I don't know. I'll believe it when I can buy a chip from DigiKey. It's just
it's still
one of
relevant,
those things, I really don't care about, unless the chip's on the market. So, yep.
Well, basically, this article we
yet
found.
Another memory technology, and, it's,
Yeah. The article was about Hynix, the Korean semiconductor manufacturer, is actually going to production, or they say going to production, but basically it's, when you can get it from DigiKey. So you're going to keep hearing about
it.
What
are the details? What's the yield? What's the price? And what's the reliability? What are the specs? There's lots of unknowns in there. So, yep. I'll believe it when I have the data sheet and I have the chip on my desk and I can plug it into a breadboard, Yeah. That's about, Although I'm sure you won't be able to plug it into a breadboard. I'm sure it's a BGA package or something like that, which I hate. God, I hate BGA packages.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not go there.
Yeah.
I know, unfortunately.
Well, speaking of DigiKey, you were just talking about them.
Yes.
I saw you said they were...
I tweeted, DigiKey is now a $1 billion company. That's $1 billion, boys and girls. They just tweeted the other day, I think it was yesterday or the day before that, they have just surpassed $1 billion in sales. So I guess there's a lot of money in the component supply business. It's unbelievable.
There is. Yeah. Oh. And, they have entire marketing campaigns building up around them. So,
exactly. And I've heard they do spend a lot on marketing too. And if you check the magazines out, they've got all these full page ads and things like that. And they've got a big marketing budget, I'm sure, with their $1 billion. I'm not sure of the details of that $1 billion, if they're actually making a profit on that. I'm sure they are, because they've got very optimized, inventory systems and distribution systems and stuff like that. So, I'm sure
at the end of the day, they're just a warehouse company, basically. I mean, they're
pretty much, warehouse and distribution,
electronics, but it's almost like it's all logistics then. So they just have a marketing group that knows something about electronics, and maybe a tech support group that knows a little bit about electronics, and the rest is just straight business.
Yeah.
Boring.
But they're trying to encourage, like most of the component suppliers, they're trying to encourage EDA companies to, build their databases into their into their actual into their EDA products, so you can search. To actually make the search much easier to find their parts and to be able to buy them and generate bill of materials and all that sort of stuff. So that's how they're trying to edge ahead of everyone else. But everyone's trying to do that at the same time. So yeah, I'd love to know how much the other companies make. If anyone knows, let us know. I'm sure we can find out. They're all publicly listed companies, Mouser and Newark. Newark, I think, are the biggest. I think Newark might actually be bigger than DigiKey. Yeah. But don't quote me on that one. But
bigger than $1 billion, and that's pretty big.
Yeah, yeah. But good on DigiKey, I guess, and they do provide a great service. Apart from, here we go. I'm going to rant. It's the bloody US government again, and DigiKey this time. I ordered some parts. Sorry, Chris. I know you know. I know you're a Yank and all that sort of stuff. But I got to complain about the US government again.
You know, I do represent the US government in its entirety.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. Entity. Good. I can rant to someone direct.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Leave your feedback here. Tea partiers need not apply.
I was buying some parts from DigiKey yesterday.
Okay.
And as usual, every time, because I'm from Australia, I'm not from the US. The US thinks everyone outside their country is evil and they're going to do evil things. So when you buy parts from DigiKey and a lot of other suppliers, before you can finish your shopping cart and buy them, you have to fill out this little thing which says, are these products going to be used in military things? Are they going to be used for government surveillance? Are they going to be used in nuclear weapons and chemical weapons and all that sort of stuff? Some of the other companies do the nuclear weapons, but that's what they're implying. Basically. And you got to fill this out. So I filled it out, as I normally do, and they put down an example like, if it's for personal use, put down person. So I put down it's for personal use, as the parts were. And we're only talking like LEDs, resistors, and op amps here. It's not like we're doing a trigger for a nuclear detonator or something. God. And they're, so I fill it out and it goes through. No problems at all. And then I get an email from DigiKey saying, we need more details on your project. What exactly are these parts going to be used in? Tell us about... Yeah, and otherwise we're not going to ship your goods. Well, friggin' hell.
Can you start making things up like... I'm making a love robot.
It's a government surveillance device, and I'm going to, it's a nuclear trigger, and
no, I wouldn't go that direction.
It's a drone. Why
get you in
not?
trouble.
I'm very tempted to go in that direction.
I would go the other direction and try and think up the most ridiculous thing you could possibly, like love robot or
right, it's in a sex toy or something like that.
I don't know. I guess I could get weirder than that.
I guess
undersea.
You could. Something that would piss off the US government or piss off the US people.
I don't think love robots would piss off the US government.
I don't know. But
that's really annoying that they keep asking you that, but I think that's probably just... I've had export compliance stuff, training before. Yeah. Because they'll just shut you down. That's the thing. But here is an interesting question. I didn't realize you were going to talk about this, but and kind of related to other stuff we've talked about before, what is going to happen when all these component companies aren't in the U.S. anymore? You know what I mean? So say 10 years from now, we obviously know Asian suppliers are doing really well because they're making all the chips anyways, and if they're not making them, they're packaging them, and the only next logical step is they're going to start developing IP and selling out of China or Korea or wherever, and at that point, then the U.S. doesn't really have any leverage anymore, and in fact, people like you, Dave, are going to be so pissed off that you have to fill out this form. Then you're not going to want to buy any American parts, or not even American parts, but just from American suppliers anymore, and that'll actually become a hindrance. And so what's going to happen at that point?
Well, I don't see it as being that bad because most of the companies who design the chips are based in the US. So, it's going to take a long time for even though they're all manufactured in Asia. I think it's going to take a long time for that to actually happen. All the things you're saying there, but they certainly could. And the US have to put measures in place. I think I heard something recently that Obama's going to invest like couple of $1 billion or $100 billion. Oh, no, sorry.
It's a lot of billions.
It's a lot of billions, but yeah, like $1 billion in new R&D incentives in the US or something. I'll have to dig up a link on that. Yeah,
I saw he was doing that. I saw he was doing job creation stuff, and
right.
I think I tweeted about that at one point. Maybe he listened. Do you think?
Right, there you go.
Do you think anyone cares? No.
Whatever
works. I don't care as long as there's money.
The amp hour.
Oh,
well,
God.
exactly. Yeah.
As long as there's money, flowing somewhere. I mean, politics aside, someone's got to spend money, and a lot of people don't like that it's the government, but whatever. I think R&D needs more money. Hopefully, they'll be able to. The only thing I worry about is if they'll get it out within the next 3 years. Because if it comes out in 3 years, who gives a crap? So
yeah.
Politics aside, right. I'm okay with it.
Okay, but it is one of those long-term things, really. It's something you've got to put in place now, and you probably won't see immediate benefits from. Somebody has to have some, future vision to see those problems coming. So,
well, and don't. I mean, no one should kid themselves. Like, China does this on a daily basis. Like, their solar incentives, their all of their R&D spending. It's very government driven, and a lot of people say, well, we don't want it to go that direction, but someone's doing it, so it's like, woo, man, there's a lot of good investment going on there, and I know they have a tight grip over there, but they are very technologically minded, and it's gonna win them some battles in the future.
Exactly. So. But then in the US, the problem the US has is the big C word, the big communism word comes out, and things like that. Get over yourselves. Jeez. Really?
Well, that's a little more politicky than we should probably get at this point.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, anyway, it's really annoying trying to get parts, just real simple parts that you can buy. Yeah. Why do they care? It's just ridiculous. It's not going to stop anyone. It's just another stupid layer of, that only stops the honest people. That only hinders the honest people. It's not going to stop anyone from building their nuclear weapon or their biological weapon.
Someone's like building a nuclear missile somewhere, being like, I got to fill out this form. I'm done.
Oh, damn, I have to tick yes. Oh, that's going to stop me.
Guess I'll go build a well for my community. Okay.
It's crazy. And I think I heard a couple of years back that Dell were doing the same thing, because Dell are a big US company. Yes. And if you bought a Dell computer online, Texas, is it? Yeah. Everything's bigger in Texas. Anyway, they apparently had the same thing. When you ordered your Dell online, you had to, say this computer is not going to be used for nuclear simulations and stuff like that. And I think there was a groundswell of people that were willing to actually tick yes to that and just see what happens, just to prove that it's a joke or something like that. So I'm not sure how many people actually went through and did that. So
Dell has to cancel half their orders, and then they're like, I'm not sure we want to do this anymore. Right. Yeah.
Anyway, let's get off that, shall we? What else have we got?
Oh, let's see. I guess another industry thing. Did you see the NXP? It's going public. I thought they already did, but
they did. Well, they announced it quite a few weeks back, but I don't think it's physically happened yet. I don't think the paperwork is. Well, the paperwork's gone
here's
through.
Share number one and share number two.
Exactly, and then the champagne corks pop for the investors. Who that's the main thing, you see.
Yeah. Well, we got to make sure they're taken care of. That's basically what I wanted to rant about. Is like all these companies, and I was reading an article today. I'll link it in here, but it was like, I don't know if there's a link actually, but like at first all these companies like took all this money out, and all these private investors took them all private, and now they're going back public again, and then they'll probably go private again. And in the whole mess of this stuff, one or two of them is going to go under. And why does this happen? I mean, and obviously the answer is money. We know the answer is money, but stop doing it. Please stop doing it, because then Dave and I have to go out, and if we're using an NXP part and they go under, we got to go find a replacement. And it's ridiculous.
Well, the thing is, NXP is one of those companies that I don't like to say it, but they're almost too big to fail. If they were going down the gurgler, someone would buy them and keep their parts going, because the gurgler, is that not a US word? No, gurgler?
If it is, I've never heard it.
Oh, okay. Then to go down the gurgler. The gurgler is the drain hole here in Australia, which of course goes in the opposite direction of what it does in the US, you know.
Unless there's that. You ever seen that Simpsons episode where they actually built a device that allows it to go the correct direction? America sponsors it.
I haven't seen that one. I'm going to have to try
now. Oh, so many horrible. Don't watch it. It's so many bad stereotypes are like acted out.
Oh no, I love that sort of thing. I've got to watch it now.
It's one of my favorite episodes of The Simpsons. But
awesome.
Anyways, the Gurgler.
I will Google. Yes, I'll Google Simpsons. Drain hole or something like that. I'm
so
sure
good.
it'll
That's
pop
such a
up
good
on
episode.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, you said NXP's too big to fail.
Well, yeah, because they've got such a massive cash flow selling these parts that companies like that don't really just go under. I don't think there's so many huge companies invested in using their parts that sort of there's a whole base level of industry support for a company like that. So so I think if they were in trouble, if they ended up going in trouble, which might happen because the new management or something might, new IPO management might, drag them down the toilet, and someone else will buy them out and continue using their parts. So I don't know if has a semiconductor company like a large one, a major one, actually gone under in the last 30 years. I don't know. I don't think either. So. Offhand, I can't remember any.
Well, like gone under? I don't know.
As in, like
I think they've gone first.
Out. No one's bought them. You can't buy their parts anymore. You're screwed. Because you designed their parts into your product. So I can't remember. I'm sure there's got to be. One, but I certainly can't remember.
They talked about that with Freescale. There was worries about Freescale happening too because they went private too. I think Blackstone bought them out, and it's a mess.
That's the thing. Somebody always eventually buys you out. So I don't think you got too much to worry about with NXP. You just have to, be concerned about the longevity of the parts, really, because if they start getting into trouble, then they might start cutting back on their number of products in their portfolio and stuff like that, and they cancel a chip you've designed in, which can be really annoying. So it's one of those things to consider.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about this before, is that I've worked on designs where it's very important that you've actually got to get written assurances from the companies to ensure that they're going to supply that part for the next 10 years. Because if I'm designing something for the military, they require like a 10-plus year lifetime, and you've got to get assurance that they will supply that part in 10 years. And it's very difficult to get, but you can eventually get written assurance from the company.
Eventually they'll start to lie. Eventually they'll just lie to you.
So, what can you do? But, you've just got to trust them. And I don't know, hopefully use second source parts or use parts with a common footprint in their family or something like that. Or,
Yeah.
So, that's always the problem. Change components relatively painlessly.
With like really fancy, not even fancy, but just like really unique parts. And
and
that's actually something I want to talk about. That I was going to ask you about have you seen those LT parts? I love linear technology. I don't know if that's too much of a shout out.
They do great parts. They do really sex on a stick parts.
Sex on a stick parts. Yeah.
Sex on a stick. Really are.
That's nice. Yep. But they have a lot of parts for energy harvesting. You and I kind of bitch about that sometimes, and how a lot of it's full of crap. Like some of it, like RF energy, but some of it is legit. I mean,
you can generate small amounts of and store small amounts of energy.
Yeah. I mean, if you're doing a sensor, that's a really cool idea. So you just harvest the energy right there, and then you try and transmit it, and hopefully you got enough energy there. So there's some really cool parts there.
Oh yeah, there's some really cool applications out there too. Like I've heard about forest management systems where they go and place all these sensors out in these forests to detect, temperature and humidity and all that, like little weather things. And what they do, instead of powering them from batteries, they actually plug them into trees. Because apparently, if you get two metal spikes and you plug it into a tree, you can actually harvest energy from the tree or something like that. So, like really minute amount of power, but it's on a continuous basis. It's enough to power a little flea-powered microcontroller and a sensor.
Wow.
So, some
that's almost
really
like,
cool apps.
You could definitely monitor a potato field. You know,
I'm sure,
doing that experiment as a kid with a little light bulb, lighting up yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, I've got a energy harvesting kit from a company called Symbet, Symbet, and apparently the chip, I haven't played with it much really. It's got like a little solar cell on there in it, but the idea is that the chip actually stores energy. It's a silicon based thing. It actually stores the energy on the chip, so it's a single chip solution.
Oh, yeah. That's
basically,
cool.
and it handles coulomb counting and all that sort of stuff, I think. And yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That's
cool. As long as you have like good parts that don't leak a lot of power, as when they're just sitting there, that's obviously a really important thing. But other than that, once energy is energy. It's just a matter of efficiently, capturing it all and storing it. It might take a long time to store it, and you might end up not having a lot total, but if you can work with little amounts of power, you can do it. I mean, a lot of people think, like we talked about last time with the, you have to understand the scale. So you're not going to be harvesting tons and tons of energy from a piezoelectric sensor,
exactly.
But if you need a little bit of energy, you could probably get some kind of vibrational sensor there. It harvests the vibrations from a motor or something else like that.
Yeah.
It monitors the motor to make sure it's not broken, and then it sends you the data back. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a real good niche there for these type of applications, and also there's a real art to true low power design. Low power analog and digital design. There's a lot of tricks you can do to actually keep devices and microcontrollers and other items extremely low power. So there's a bit of an art there, and people are used to just absolutely pissing away energy, with a 10K pull-up resistor or something like that, and that just doesn't cut it for a low-power design. You really have to optimize things. And as I always say, God, you can fly to the moon on 5 milliamps.
Yeah,
it's a massive amount when you're talking about ultra low power. Things.
Yeah.
So if you've got a single LED and you're running it at even a very low 2 milliamps, you're just really pissing away your current there. So and I'd like to throw my own little pitch in there about a lot of times you're going to need to do it in analog now. So I like that a lot. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be sure to check out some great sites about analog, and you can, if you get any questions,
just
let me
type
know.
analog into Google, right, and see who comes up at number one.
Well, maybe not analog, just analog. Anyway,
right.
Maybe someday. Well, anyways.
Maybe analog blog, your number one or something, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there's some great parts from LT. And another thing from LT, actually, one of my favorite things out of LT is Jim Williams. Do you ever...
oh, yes.
Do you ever watch any of his videos?
Jim Williams, yep. Absolutely.
That guy...
Yeah, they're excellent. They really are.
I can't... I was reading this article... So I always that's always my favorite part of like tech magazines and everything is the design notes, and you get to see how usually it's just a finished product, but Jim Williams has this recent one about looking at a wideband amplifier, because a lot of times your scope can't handle it. You either can't trigger it at the right time and then see all the response you need to see. But he's got this cool circuit for triggering everything, and so he builds it up though. And so I'm like kind of flipping through pages, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, that's a nice little circuit. And then there's another one, nice little circuit. And then you turn the page, and you open it up, and he must have like 20 op amps and like a bunch of discrete FETs, and like I'm like, where did this come from? This is amazing.
Magic.
Oh my god, it's just it's good. It's good stuff. He's got some really good articles, so I'll link that one in. And but if you're looking for like low level analog stuff, man, Jim Williams has some good stuff. So just wanted to give that a shout out.
And that brings us into a discussion point. You wanted to talk about Spice.
Yeah. I love it, but I know that I know that you're a very very big fan of trying it out first and breaking it. And
well, I'm a practical guy. My favorite programming language is Solder. So,
that's right. Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah. Absolutely. But, spice is valuable. There was some talk about this on the forum, some beginner question, should I use spice or should I build stuff? Well, you really need both these days, because spice allows you to just, it allows you to make changes so quickly, instantly, and you can go, oh, what if I change the value of this resistor, or what if I change what if I add a capacitor here, or change this type of transistor, and you don't need a big parts bin, and you can learn all that sort of stuff of how basic building blocks change when you change the parameters and things like that.
Basically you cut out the need for a technician sitting right next to you and helping you desolder parts
and building it up and stuff like that. But of course, everyone knows Spice has traps for young players. It doesn't simulate parasitic effects like when you build something on a breadboard or a PCB and you've got parasitic capacitance between things and inductance in your traces and things like that. It just doesn't simulate those sort of things.
I think that's kind of like the magic is like if you understand where that point is, and if you can say, okay, this is where Spice stops being realistic, and now I need to go try it and see what all the other crap coming out of the circuit is. If you see a perfect 20 dB roll off, out of your circuit, and you're like, oh, this is perfect. Everything's wonderful. And then you go and you look at a spectrum analyzer, and you're like, oh, that's not cool. Or network analyzer, sorry. And you're like, oh, that's a lot of spikes.
Oh, check out all the crosstalk from the power supply and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to find that out.
Yeah, exactly. But if you can recognize those, if you're using Spice and you can recognize those things, then you've hit the big time. You've instantly become a really good engineer, because you understand the limitations of components and the effects and parasitic effects. So once you begin to understand that, that's when you become a real valuable engineer, I think. So
I've talked to Flying Flux about that before. He comments on the amp hour sometimes, and he writes about analog too. That's how I got to know him. But he actually does chip design, and so he's actually doing Spice from that perspective, from that's
a different ballgame
all the way down, and that stuff is crazy. Like you have to know
that is insanely complex.
Like the leakage of if you increase your transistor size by a nanometer, you're just like whoa,
exactly.
So not necessarily doing that, but I mean they're still doing the same kind of concepts where they have like you were saying with the modeling of parasitics. There's a lot of that in silicon. And,
absolutely.
And understanding all that stuff, so it's pretty great.
Yeah, and that's the other reason why those tools, these silicon design tools, cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, $500,000, even $1 million for one of those. For the really top high end ASIC layout and simulation tools. Just, because they've got 100 million lines of code in them, and they're just so hideously complex. I'm surprised anyone's able to understand them at all. It's just how a single person could. Understand
how do you get started doing that stuff?
Oh, it's just, it's crazy. But
well, if anyone happens to be, if you're listening to Amp Hour while you're laying out your circuits and you want to let us know, well, maybe we can give you a chat sometime and talk about it. But how do you get started with that kind of thing? Where do you? You probably don't learn that in school because schools can't afford that stuff.
No, you just start off bit by bit, and after 20 years, you know what's going on,
Well, just like electronics.
Most of it. So, but there's always something you don't know. You can be working on something for 20 years, and someone comes along and they know something, that you don't. So, Spice has its good and its bad things. Which Spice package are you using?
I use two for just simple stuff. I usually use LT.
That's the one I use.
It's
LT Spice.
I like how you can click on. I've reviewed it before on my blog, and I really like the ease with which you can look at signals. That is the definite. There's a lot of other great stuff about it, but if I name one thing, that would be it. Like being able to click somewhere and being like, okay, there's all your signals. That's awesome. But I also use one called Top Spice. They have some cool built-in back-end features that I use. So it's nice. They're all good. I don't. Do you ever do any like text stuff anymore, where you actually do a net list and typing those in? Oh
God, no. I haven't done text-based, net list and all that for a long time. I just love the user, the high-level user interfaces on, LT Spice, and Circuit Maker 2000 is another one I use, which is discontinued now. Altium discontinued that, and but that was a really top package. Circuit Maker 2000 was really nice.
It's nice too because
from just that real easy use point of view, drag your components in, click on it, and
exactly.
and your current waveform pops up in your component, and it's just so easy to use. Any dummy can use it. It's great.
And it's nice too because then it kind of doubles as a. I mean, it'd be nicer if you could just drop it right into a schematic, but if you need to show a circuit to a friend or something, you can just do it in Spice real quick and shoot it over to them, or and then you could even have models all ready to go and stuff. So yeah, that's another thing in the EDA industry. It's not easy to tie in the actual schematic capture package with the full-on simulation. So I still do it separately. I just find there's too many quirks to to integrate that with your actual schematic, which you're going to DRC and then you're going to take to your PCB. So I normally only and I don't simulate full things. I just simulate one little op-amp circuit or a couple of transistors or something like that. Boy. I've learned that one the hard way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One time I laid out this entire like I was just starting out, but it was this huge, full system, full control loop and everything. And I got to the end, and I'm like, I got all the components in there, and I got all these models from the vendors. And as I was going, my coworker was like, "Chris, you're doing too much. Just make it simple." And I'm like, no, that's cool. I know what I'm doing here. Cocky kid who thinks he knows what he's doing. And then I get to the end. Too. Yeah. And I click go, and it's like, yeah, right. It might as well have said that. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Yeah. And so I went, I went back and started deleting stuff, and ended up getting down to a little single op-amp circuit, and then you build from there.
Oh, well done.
Yeah. So.
Yep. There you go, kiddies.
Word to the wise for the youngins out there: start small, make sure it works.
Absolutely.
Save it. Plop that into another one, and then start again. Yes. And then you always have a back. It's like kind of like that troubleshooting book that we talked about that one time. Yep. You always have a backup point, so okay, it definitely worked here. And if you keep a good record like that, you're going to be a lot better. I will save you gray hair and hair ripped out and left on your keyboard.
Yes.
Don't build too much at once.
I wholeheartily agree. And making backups. I will, even for the simplest circuits in Spice, I will make 10 different. I'll make one little change, I'll back it up, and then it works, I'll back it up, because trying to backtrack through to a point where you had something and it was working and doing what you wanted, and then you make changes and you bust it and you don't know how to get back. Backups really save your bacon there. So I think save your Spice circuit.
As the generations kind of progress here, we're going to have kids growing up with video games and knowing where to the save point is. Maybe that'll really help things out.
Right.
I know how to do this. I know how to save a game here. It's cool.
Yeah. So there you go, kiddies.
Yeah.
Valuable advice from the Amp Hour.
That's right. Yeah.
What else have we got? We've still got some time left.
Yeah, definitely got some time.
We've jumped around our list of topics here.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to talk about that. So I got an email from the IEEE today, and I still give them a look see and see what they got going on there. So there's a robot that Iran recently, or scientists in Iran recently developed, and they're like, hey, this is a walking robot, and I don't know if they just don't check the news and see that those have existed for 10, 20 years, but
right.
Whatever. And I just kind of wanted to rant about, like, I can't believe that people are still using scientific exploration and like discovery as like oh, hey, we're dominant here. Like nuclear stuff aside, like, really, that's like how you're gonna like. That's how you're trying to show that you're a superpower to the world, by having a walking robot.
Exactly. Well, Japan's had one for ages. I've seen him. He did a tour, Asimo.
Yeah, Asimo.
Yeah, it's not rocket. I wasn't too impressed by that. I went there to see him. Like, it was in a local park. They had this huge tent and everything, and a big stage. And Asimo comes out. I wasn't that impressed. Is that the best they can do? I was a bit let down.
You think it's going to be a lot more impressive, but there's a ton involved there. There's actually a really great.
Oh yeah, I understood the engineering behind how advanced it was, but I was still disappointed. So
I know, right?
I wanted the whole fantasy to come true. So
I know what you mean.
That just didn't happen. Yeah. Speaking of the IEEE. I'm not just talk. You know how I ranted on about that Amazon Kindle, that shocking Amazon e-book reader review. Well, I just didn't talk about it. I put my money where my mouth is, and my 30-minute review of the Amazon Kindle is up.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go,
good.
in your face, IEEE. So there you go. That's what you can do with an off-the-cuff
I forgot.
review.
I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you didn't talk about the IEEE at all in the Kindle review, and I didn't even put it together that's what were you talking about?
Probably should have. I probably should have. But there you go.
Well, now we know.
In your face, IEEE. That's how you do a video
guys.
review. And
that's right. That's how it's done.
They had 6 editors with 2 months bloody work or something. And man, got to be kidding me. I just sat in front of a camera for an hour.
Yeah, it was good. I liked your review a lot. I was surprised you took it apart. Did you say your wife was going to beat you up?
Yeah, so was my wife. Yeah, she was not too happy that I took it apart. But yeah, I was a bit hesitant to do that. But I got my knife out and I popped off one clip and I thought, okay, and you just get the temptation and you pop off and you pop off the next clip. Look, I can always go back if I get too scared, and I start popping off more.
That's funny.
And it worked. So
do you ever see that T-shirt that says "I void"? That's not your T-shirt, is it? I void warranties.
No. I void warranties or something like that. Yeah. They're very cool. All those sort of T-shirts. Absolutely.
I'm sure your warranty is gone, but it was worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it. It's fun. So I've got some nice high-res pickies of it, and it was interesting to see inside. So yeah, it's really good. So I did those as a separate video, a teardown and a review. If you haven't seen it, little plug there. Yeah. Anyway. Yes.
Oh, well.
What else have we got here?
So, I was going to keep going about this rant thing with the... I guess it's not that... it's not really that much of a rant, but, it's interesting because, the scientists in Iran, they're like, all right, well, we built this robot. We need more work on it, but, now they're out showcasing and whatever. And I was thinking, it's kind of like the iPhone effect. You ever had that where, someone shows you their phone and they're like, oh, look at this cool thing I can do, where they're, saying it like it's their own thing. But it's like... You didn't do anything.
Exactly. You just bought it. You just walked into a shop and bought it, dude.
Yeah, exactly. You went to the App Store and you downloaded something, and this is like you. So basically, you should go out and invent something and then show it off. And for countries out there, go out and invent something worthwhile that hasn't been done yet. Don't show us 10-year-old technology and expect some kind of recognition at that point, And,
well, Iran, you got to cut them a break, I
don't.
They're trying to get they're trying to get a foothold, into it's all it's all politics, it's all
that's what I'm saying. That's the problem.
And everything else, but
that's the problem. They have brilliant scientists there, and either
absolutely.
educated there or educated outside their country, and it's like. The fact that they're doing that, showing it off and stuff. Oh, look what we can. It's like, come on, guys, really? Show us you guys fixing, poverty in your country. Something a lot of countries can't do. Show us some technology for that, and then show it off. Okay, I'm impressed then.
Okay, yeah. But that's the whole politics of it. From a scientific, you can't really. I don't think you can blame them just from a technical point of view. They want to, everyone thinks they're some backward country. To showcase what they're doing is a step forward, at least in that narrow aspect. I think so. I don't blame them. Other countries
showing that
India,
their science
the same
is good.
Thing. Well, India, we did we talk about this on the first episode or something? How India claimed they'd release that $20 or $30 thing. That was all hype and bullshit. But that was just so. Are they actually showing this robot? Have they demonstrated it? Is it a
there's a video of it and stuff. So,
right, okay.
There'll be a link there, but
all right.
Well,
so they actually have something tangible. So they're ahead of India, are they? Is that the?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
I guess they are.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But I don't know. Tacked onto that, I wanted to talk about cognitive surplus. Have you ever heard about that concept before? So, you ever heard of Clay Shirky? He's I'm not sure what he does now. He has some institute, I think, at NYU.
Right.
But he wrote this great book called "Here Comes Everybody," and I love that book. It's great book about just interconnectedness of people now and kind of lofty stuff. But he's got this new book about cognitive surplus and basically how, I was saying, don't just, it's kind of like what you said too, don't just talk about it, go do it, right? Or don't just say, oh, well, we're so great, we have this thing that's already been invented. Go invent something that means something. And basically, Clay Shirky talks about how this time and this period in time is like it's never been anything like this. I mean, like you and I 200 years ago, right? I'd be working in a field, you'd be working in a field. There's never been this much free time and free access to information to actually do this stuff.
By the way, I would probably be burned at the stake as a heretic or something like that, I think. Well, anyway, that's just an aside.
Well, there's it might still happen. Who knows?
Right, it could do.
Yeah, don't go to this. Yeah, all right. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's amazing, like what people can do now, and just kind of like I think the book talks about, you know, if people actually, the only thing that slows it down now is like television, you know, and you already started seeing that with like Make Magazine, all these people kind of going out and just using this time and resources of theirs to like make stuff and make cool stuff, and it's kind of leads towards that creative economy and that we had talked about last time too, and it's. I don't know. It's cool. I've only read the summary on the book so far, but I got that on order at the library. So I'll try and talk more about it later.
Awesome. I'll have to check it out. And I think that's about all we have time for our AMP Hour, unless there's anything you want to add. I think we're done and dusted.
Well, yeah, we might be done. I don't know if this is actually an hour this time, but we'll maybe we can make it the AMP 50-minute.
All right. Well, no. If I've almost got an hour here, but no. Have we got any more points? We can keep going. We can go all day.
I think because we had a little cutout earlier, and
we did. We had a technical glitch where our Google Talk thing, Google just shut down and logged me out at least. Yeah. I think something happened at Chris's end as well.
Yeah. Maybe Google had a little
I don't know. Yes, blame Google there. But it's amazing that it can stay up for an hour without, going down.
Yeah, right? We're like complaining about it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we'll have to edit that bit out. So if you see something weird in the middle there, that's what happened. If it doesn't quite make sense where we,
If we just put in a beep over top of it, Dave was not swearing the whole time. It was just because there was no... cut out. So yeah, I guess I don't know.
There's modular electronics. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, that'll be a good last couple things.
Yeah, we can get that 10 minutes. You basically linked to the buglabs.net, which they make these little encased electronic modules, and you can plug them together to build bigger systems. One's a base CPU with all sorts of things, and then they've got add-ons for cameras and speech and sound and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
And I/O, and you can add those things on. Nothing new there. I don't know what you wanted to talk about with regards to that modular thing or not. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because so if you look at the Bug Labs thing, there's actually each individual piece is encased in plastic. So
it's very funky looking. Yeah,
right. It kind of. I mean, like the whole thing looks pretty bulky and like because in the end you end up making like what is essentially like a HD flip or a iPad or some other kind of commercial electronic device that already exists, but it's modular and then you can switch it around and program it, whatever. So that's pretty cool that it's like a platform. But basically, my question would be how easy is it to make things modular like that, but then also not break the bank because of it. Obviously they have to pay some more because of it.
The fact I've looked into this extensively because more than a decade ago, I was involved with some people trying to set up something like that, and there were just so many limitations involved, so many trade-offs that it just never got off the ground. We called them blobs or something like that. I can't remember the exact silicon blobs or hardware blobs or something, and we could never really figure out a way to do it that would keep everyone happy. It'd keep the costs low, but it looked good, or it was physically in a format that you wanted, and it's just ultimately, it's fine for just like building a one-off thing, experimenting, in the classroom or something like that, playing around with.
Right.
But for any practical use, you really have to go sort of custom or semi-custom kind of things. So, I don't...
Yeah, you only start to run into limitations
you run into limitations very quickly, or power or something like that. You run into all sorts of limitations very quickly. So there's a small niche there, and this company's, I'm sure they're selling quite a few of these things to,
I found out about them
educational market. They're part of the open source. Is it open source?
Yes, it is. That's how I
they're
found out
part of the Open Source Hardware Summit.
Yeah.
Sponsoring the Hardware Summit. That's right.
But
I'm sure they got a nice little niche business there. I'm sure they're pulling in, I don't know, maybe even $1 million. Who knows? But it's not the be all end all solution. It never will be. It's just not possible. It's, you can't have something that's just a jack of all trades, really.
Right. Yeah. It's like if you try and be everything, you're going to be
nothing. Yeah. You're going to be
mediocre.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's unfortunate. That's why we only talk about electronics on here on the Amp Hour.
Do we? Oh, okay. Right. Well, we better stick to electronics.
Yeah, I guess no more fashion talk, Dave.
No more fashion talk or politics or
politics seem to creep in regardless.
Politics is good though. Everyone wants to hear about politics, especially when it relates to the electronics industry.
Yeah. Well, it seems to creep in.
Maybe people don't want to listen to it, but it's fun to rant about anyway.
Yeah. It seems to spark our hatred pretty easily. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's all good.
Yeah.
But we'll try and stick to it. That's the other thing. Didn't somebody want to? They had a suggestion for the Amp Hour. Didn't they want to? See us do maybe if we could cover some things. What was the? You put that in. What was the basis there? I think it was on the forum from John.
Oh yeah. He was basically. I keep asking for suggestions usually, but he was kind of thinking about for trending towards people that are newer to electronics, and
right.
Just kind of like some projects and stuff like that. And so he had some good suggestions here about like he had left this on our suggestions page, like just things to try out if you are a new person to electronics, like designing a power supply or trying out a 555 timer kind of stuff, and then audio. And we talked about that before about how we're probably not going to be able to do too much of that stuff on the Amp Hour, but there's a lot of great projects you can do like that. Switch mode you can eventually get into. I'd probably point people towards like your forum though. That's usually the best place to find that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so, because there's a huge groundswell of beginners on the forum and people who are answering questions. So it's really a good place to go to if you ask a beginner question like that. And we are limited to what we can cover on the Amp Hour. I mean, we can't do tutorials and things like that, but we can certainly come up with ideas. So if you've got a question, we can talk you out, talk you through it in sort of like a rant style format, I guess. And when it comes to, I think John's list is fairly standard. It's been like that for 50 years. You if you're starting out in electronics, you build your little 5-volt power supply, little linear power supply. You build up some 555 timer circuits and experiment with the values and little op amp circuits, audio amps and stuff like that. They're all your traditional example circuits, really. So nothing's changed at all. I know the whole world's moving towards microcontrollers and embedded systems and all that, but that's you've got to start.
They'll get to that eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I hope it didn't sound like I was copping out there. I mean, like anyone who is new to electronics, hopefully is. If they're listening to this show, hopefully they're getting something out of it. But sometimes, if you can only talk about those projects so many times before you start repeating yourself. So,
well, that's the thing about the radio, about the Amp Hour and the radio show, I guess. Is it education or just entertainment? I think it's mostly just entertainment, really.
Yeah.
We might mention some things, but we're not really educating. That's not really. I don't think that's our goal, is it? It's just
I don't know if it's possible to learn a lot of stuff in an hour. I mean, like you can learn little snippets, but then there's a lot of great resources out there. We linked those 1 or 2 episodes ago with the like Make podcasts and like Dave, your videos are often pretty good about that stuff. So there's a lot of good resources out there, and if you need any more, always feel free to ask us about those.
Absolutely. I see the Amp Hour as more of is more of an entertainment thing for people who are interested in the industry, interested in electronics, be you a beginner or you've got a grey beard and you've been in the industry for 20 years. I just think we're just 2 guys chatting about electronics and the industry. So hopefully people are listening. I don't know what our current viewer stats are, but
I don't either.
Yeah, let's hope they're growing. I'm sure they're growing.
Yeah,
let's
tell
be
your
confident.
friends, please. We love feedback, and we love when you tell your friends and when we see our logo places. So all those things are great, but not even necessary. We just like your ears too, so we can just pump our thoughts in your ears.
Absolutely, that's the whole idea. And on that note, we'll end our Amp Hour, and we'll catch you all next time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Absolutely. See ya.